I was at a conference only at the beginning of this week, the Institute of Coding conference, and the digital skills and the shortages of digital skills for today and for the next foreseeable future is undeniably a major issue that we need to take into account. So I thought I'll say a few words about this area, what's causing it, and what potentially we can do in universities and education establishment, but also in communities and in business companies. If you look at any statistics, and I'm not going to bore you with these, they all agree that the changing landscape of the digital area is causing difficulties in catching up with the skills required. So I have been in the UK HE sector for over 30 years. I'm 36, still. And we have always been told that there is a tension between training and education. There is a tension between what businesses need today and what universities are producing in terms of graduates. So how do we make sure that the work we do with businesses does help with the gap that's out there? Back in, I think, December 2016, the ex-Chancellor of the Exchequer came to Cheltenham to announce a £1.8 billion investment into cybersecurity. So I was one of 13 people who attended that meeting, and he mentioned 4 different elements of the £1.8 billion investment. One is to set up the National Cybersecurity Centre. 2 other elements are the National Cyber Innovation Centre. One will be based in London, the other one in Cheltenham, and the third one is the Institute of Coding. So I was sitting there thinking, I can see how we will be involved in the Cyber Innovation Centre in Cheltenham, probably not in the one based in London. And the Institute of Coding, that will go to large computing departments, and there are some really brilliant universities in the UK who can do that work. As it happened, we are involved in all 4 projects. And with the Institute of Coding, we lead an important piece of work on educating the educators. Because what's happening, and it's, I think, pertinent to talk about this, particularly in this building and this space, when Alan Turing in the 50s started talking about machine intelligence and artificial intelligence, and can machines think, from there to where we are today, and how we're using technology in almost everything we do during the day, had an impact on how we do things, how we do business, how we socialize, how we live our lives, but that has challenges. And a key challenge in all this is privacy and security. So the Institute of Coding is about making the UK PLC produce coders who write codes with security embedded as part of the production, rather than we create systems and then think about how do we add security as a plug-in. That's not working. We do patching here and there, and okay, of course, I say it's not working. It is working, otherwise we wouldn't be here. But the challenges are massive in the previous way of producing software and technology systems. So part of what we are doing is making sure that educators at schools, at colleges and universities who are teaching computer science, computing, or any allied discipline have this way of thinking embedded in how they teach the curriculum. Why are we where we are in terms of the skills shortage and the skills change, how things have got to what they are? I call it the grand challenge from a digital point of view, maybe because it sounds grand. But there are three things that are happening, and most observers would agree with: the hyperconnectivity, the data tsunami, and artificial intelligence. And I'll touch on these very briefly. Every day we create something like 2.5 quintillion of bytes of data. Diversity was mentioned. I would emphasize the word inclusion, probably more than diversity, because we can do the diversity bit, we can do the discourse. The actual doing of being diverse and inclusive takes a lot of courage, investment. We talked about preparedness to do it. I'll give you two examples. One major corporation was interviewing a group of IT specialists in a specific area. So they invited 3 or 4 people to the interview. One of them didn't turn up. So they called this person. What's happening? He said, I've never been to London and I don't know how to take the underground. Okay, you come to that space and we'll get a bus, etc. And he doesn't turn up. So they call him again. And he says, I'm really sorry, but I find London overwhelming. No worries. Excuse me. They send the interview panel to his house in Manchester. They say, the chief exec of that organization says, this person delivered 4 times what we consider a normal IT specialist would deliver. Why? Because they cared. He had some neuro difficulties. I think it's autism combined with other things. But they were patient. They had the courage to do it, the investment. So they had to go that step. If diversity means come to me within my own rules and regulations, it won't work. Diversity and inclusion, it's important to have all the skills. We need everyone to work together to deliver the skills that we need for the future, for now and for the future. And the last one, we can't do it without our friends. We have to work together. We should be finding ways, and we proposed platforms to organize ourselves that would enable us to work together, because otherwise we will be in the hell scenario. We have long spoons, but we can't use them. I'll leave you with that thought. Thank you very much indeed.